Matthew Mosca had a great question on my video that I put up yesterday on YouTube. Matthew says, Tristan, I can't imagine not being on a ketogenic diet. I've had depression for most of my life, but I found relief in this diet. I feel good all the time. Not only that, I finally stabilized my weight. I don't want to give that up. However, is it worth getting out of ketosis from time to time? I don't really want to, but does it have any benefits getting out of ketosis once in a while? I've been in it about 6 months. What are your thoughts? All right, Matthew. First of all, congratulations on stabilizing your weight, on finding an effective strategy and tool that you can implement in your life to make lasting, long-term changes. But let's examine what those changes are and what they really represent, right? So you started a ketogenic diet and you've had depression your whole life. You dealt with depression, anxiety, and obviously instability with weight, whether that's, you're too skinny, you're too fat, whatever it is that you believe was your problem with your weight before, it seems to have stabilized and you're feeling better about the situation, you're feeling better about life. So congratulations, hold on to that. The diet didn't do that for you though. We have to keep this in perspective. You've got to remember, the diet is not what cured your depression. Let me explain. Well, first of all, let's peck through this. So you started this diet, and what did that actually entail? First of all, you had to decide that something had to change. You had to decide that you couldn't keep doing what you were doing, treating your body the way you were treating it, treating the people around you perhaps in your life, in the way that you were going about it. You decided that this has to stop. This is enough. I want something more. I mean, just that very desire, just you putting that out there, just that prayer in your heart, just that question inside of you, is there another way to go about this? That led you on this dietary pathway, finding out about ketosis, hearing about people using it for depression and inflammation, the link between depression and inflammation, and you implemented it and you did it. Now, I'll be the first to tell you that a ketogenic diet isn't the only way to reduce inflammation, to fuel and nourish the body, and to thrive. There are many other ways you could have gone about this, but keto was the way that you chose, and it was really effective for you. I think a ketogenic diet can be one of the most powerful adjunct therapies for depression, for anxiety that somebody can go through, but it takes a lot of willpower to do it, as you figured out. I mean, for how long? I mean, when we're depressed, are we really taking care of ourselves? Are we really doing what we know we should do to keep our body, our mind, our emotions in tip-top shape? No, that's why we're depressed. It's weighing on our conscience. I mean, depression is linked with inflammation, inflammatory foods in all the time, blood sugar dysregulations. These are all tied in intimately with depression. And keto is a really, really great tool that you can leverage to actually take control of that situation and take control of your life. But there's other ways to go about it too. So ketosis is fantastic, but just because that was the first thing that you found that you grabbed onto and latched onto and used it to shimmy yourself up and out of that hole that you'd been in for so long, that you've been wallowing in, right? When we're depressed, I mean, it could feel like ages, right? It feels like we're there for so long in those spaces. And when there's something that pulls us out, whether that be a person, an idea, a practice, we can get really, really attached to that thing. Just like we were attached to the feelings of inadequacy, shame, guilt, whatever that was informing our depression. Or just that listless feeling of, ugh, whatever. I mean, we get attached to these things. So keto was kind of like this lifeline. You grabbed onto it. But keto isn't what did it for you. You had to go through all those steps. You had to look at your diet and figure out what you were eating that was not in line with this new pathway that you were going to take. You had to completely reformat, restructure all of your habits. And keto was the template that you used to reformat those habits. You pulled out inflammatory foods, processed carbohydrates, refined sugar, junk food. Your inflammation goes down, your body starts functioning better, your mind starts functioning better, and your emotions are more stable. Is this because of the ketosis? Some people would say perhaps, but not everybody can do what you did. Not everybody is ready to pull themselves out of that funk and recognize there's a better way of living, that I don't have to treat myself like this, or treat others like this, or feel this way all the time. You had to decide, you had to take those steps, and you had to implement and change. You had to implement changes in your life. So, you've been doing keto 6 months. You don't want to change. You feel amazing, right? Your depression that you've dealt with your whole life has faded off into the past, and now you're moving forward. But then there's something in the back of your mind still worrying about, well, if I get off of my diet, am I going to go back to my old ways? If I stop doing keto, if I'm not doing exactly what I'm doing right now, if I'm not doing the same ritual that I'm doing right now, the rigid ritual, it's going to fall apart. But that's an illusion. That's just another little layer of a glass house that we erect around us to try to protect ourselves in this new safer space that you've discovered, that you've expanded into. But all glass houses must break. They all shatter. And I'm not saying keto is a big glass house. I'm just pointing out the fact that keto didn't do it. Keto didn't cause you to make these changes. You had to decide. You had to believe that it would work, first of all. And that's one of the biggest steps right there. And that's one of the main reasons a ketogenic diet works for so many people. They just believe they're going to do it. Then every single thing they're doing in alignment with formulating these new habits informs that belief and informs that feeling in this ritualistic manner that builds this new lifestyle. But we can't mistake the map for the territory. The ketogenic diet led you out of that depression, allowed you to treat your body better. You pulled out these inflammatory foods. You've changed your diet, you're treating yourself right, you're nourishing yourself. But don't just stick yourself in this rigid box of I have to do it exactly like I'm doing it right now forever, or it's the opposite side of the spectrum. I'm back in my depression, I'm back to being fatter or whatever than I want to be, and I'm not feeling good about myself. It's not either or. If you want to move forward, if you want to keep on living, it's your choice. And you won't go backwards. So you've used keto for 6 months now. Maybe it's time. I'm not saying to stop doing keto, but maybe it's time to take perspective, take stock of everything else that's changed in your life in the last 6 months. You've probably started moving differently. You've probably started looking at yourself differently in the mirror. You've probably started treating your food and the meal prep differently, right? I mean, when we're depressed, it's just like, F my body, F my life, I'm just gonna eat. You know, but when we feel good, when we're nourishing ourselves, when we're happy, when we're treating ourselves right, when we have self-love, then it's a completely different story. It's a completely different energy behind putting that food in our body. So, every time you're eating, you're believing that this is good food. You know it's good for you. It's non-inflammatory foods. You're eating a delicious, hopefully well-rounded ketogenic diet, and it's working. If you were to include carbohydrates a little bit further down the line, I guarantee you it would be a totally different situation. Now, because you've only been doing it 6 months, you might want to wait. You know, because you're a little bit unsure, you might want to wait, but you got to realize what you're really standing on. The foundation that you're standing on is not the ketogenic diet, and I must do this forever or I will be depressed. No. The foundation you're standing on is the decision to take control of your life, to treat yourself right, and to live. Because it's a choice whether we live. Right? We're born. I don't know if we really choose that. And as soon as we're born, it's implied that we're going to die. What happens from point A to point B in between there, if we live or not, is up to us. And you've made a decision to live. And that's what's important. Ketosis is a powerful tool that you've used to help you enhance your life. But it doesn't mean that you have to use it in the same way you're using it right now forever. You might find that further down the line you're able to handle some more carbohydrates. And I'm not saying like, yeah, go get junk food, right? It's like we have to treat, you still, when you eat carbs, after doing keto long term, you still want to treat yourself right. You want to eat nutrient-dense, whole, unrefined, organic foods, right? You know, not just a bunch of donuts and ice cream. That's not going to make you feel good. So, healthy, whole foods-based carbohydrates, nothing wrong with it. Further down the line, you might find that you can enjoy them and still maintain all the benefits of that deep adaptation to your new lifestyle that you've been experiencing. I've been doing keto for 4 years now. When I was first doing it for those first months, I felt like you. Like I was like afraid to stop because it was so special to me. It felt so good. It felt, I don't know, I latched onto it. I liked it. I didn't want to stop. I didn't stop. But what I did discover is that as I did it longer, I had this metabolic flexibility where I was able to pop in and out of ketosis really easily with very little cravings for the junk food. It has become so easy for me not to eat bread and donuts and pastries from my French buddy Roman's delicious bakery. I don't feel good when I eat those things. I know the effect they have on my body, so I avoid them. I treat my vessel right. I want to fuel it, and I feed not just on the food that I eat, but on the energy around me and within me. I feed on that feeling of desiring life, of desiring to be better, right? I mean, I find every single day, stumbling through my day, I find things that I really need to work on and do better. And it's usually the same things over and over again, right? But that should fuel us. Anyways, I've been babbling for a long time now. Is it worth getting out of ketosis from time to time? I don't know. Maybe in your situation further down the line it might be. Right now it sounds like you still got a little bit of an attachment to that idea of ketosis, but all I'm trying to tell you here is that ketosis isn't the foundation you stand on. It's not the foundation. It's a powerful tool that you've used and you've got it in your arsenal. You're not going to lose the benefits of ketosis. It's not going to fade off into the past if you have like a sweet potato or something a couple months from now. You're not going to lose all those benefits. The new mitochondria have been generated. You're adapted to burning fat really efficiently. You can switch fuel sources back and forth. I mean, 6 months is pretty good adaptation time. 1 year, you're going to feel even more awesome. So anyways, Matthew, thanks for the question. I'm glad you're doing well. 6 months on keto, depression's gone, you're feeling awesome. That's great. Keto's not the only tool though. So don't get stuck on it. Don't get stuck in a box of this is the only way I can do it. Keep it in perspective. Enjoy what you're doing. Use the tools and leverage them when you want to. But realize what the foundation is. It's treating ourselves right, loving life, and desiring more than those previous cycles of self-sabotage, guilt, shame, rejection, fear, depression, all that stuff. It's a choice to live. All right. So you guys can find more at primaledgehealth.com. If you're interested in a ketogenic diet, you gotta check out Jessica's cookbook, my lovely wife's cookbook. Shout out, Jessica. Say something.
Shout out.
Shout out from Jessica. The Ketogenic Edge Cookbook, a training manual for low carbohydrate, ketogenic, and paleo cuisine. Like I was just saying to Matthew, one of the biggest things about changing our lifestyle and changing our diet is learning how to prepare food for ourselves. Learning how to nourish ourselves, changing the way we look at ingredients is really important. So this book was designed as a training manual. It's a legit training manual. It's not just a list of recipes. We formulated all the recipes to specifically train you how to use these different materials, how to mix and match ingredients and recipes. There's even an entire section on how to use organ meats, the most valued parts of the animal in nature that for some reason are taboo to eat now. So we teach you how to make liver pate, which might sound gross to some people, but it's actually delicious. Our children love it. We've got, of course, Jessica's endless bone broth recipe in there. The keto flatbreads, loads of amazing recipes in there. Mama's best meatballs. Take a little bit of beef heart, mix it with the meatballs. Oh, so good. That's what I've been eating for like months. But anyways, check out the Ketogenic Edge Cookbook, a training manual for low carbohydrate, ketogenic, and paleo cuisine. That's available exclusively at primaledgehealth.com. You're not gonna find it anywhere else. All right. I'll see you guys next time. Go outside and live. Keto doesn't give you life. There's something far more profound going on here. Bye, guys.
It is our own sweet life. We're coming in from the cold. Whoa. We're coming in, coming in, coming in, coming in. Coming in from the cold. It's you.